Ever since the news came out that Hokage Naruto was struggling with a deadly chakra illness that was confirmed to be rapidly eating away at his health with each passing day, fans have often asked just what is this illness and how did Naruto catch it? Was this the same illness that Itachi had? How could they possibly explain Naruto being sick with an illness that not even the Kyuubi could cure? I've told you guys before that this was no ordinary illness, and that even the Sage of Six Paths himself once had trouble with the very same illness that Naruto currently has. The Sages travels to the country of Ridaku, which is where Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke are currently on assignment, is where the Sage of Six Paths travel in order to discover a cure for this illness. You have to understand that Ridaku isn't an ordinary country. It takes ninja like Sasuke and Kakashi over 20 days just to reach the country. It's during the events of Sasuke's mission that we learn, based on the information that Shikamaru and Sakura have gathered, an answer to the cause of Naruto's chakra illness. In today's video, I'm going to share with you guys the details that were uncovered in this scene and why this makes much more sense than a lot of people give it credit for. The information is given to us in the Sasuke Retsuden novel, the Uchiha Descendants, and the Heavenly Stardust. In the scene I'm going to share with you, Sasuke has just confronted Sakura over joining his mission, stating any information that he wanted to get from Sakura, she could have just sent it to him via Messenger Hawk, to which Sakura reveals that Konoha tried and failed numerous times to have Sasuke a message sent. After Sakura tells Sasuke the parameters of Sasuke's mission having changed, and that in order for them to successfully carry it out, that Sakura is going to need to assist Sasuke, Sasuke then reads the note that Shikamaru wrote, and Sakura shares her and Shikamaru's belief on what caused Naruto's chakra illness and what they base the information off of. Before I go over this scene, I want to thank Bethany Rose for her hard work in translating this novel literally word by word from Japanese to English. Translating Japanese to English is one of the hardest things you can do. It's about as hard as Aruka managing to land a hit on Mamoru Uchiha, meaning it's gonna require extremely hard work and a lot of effort to do so. So if you haven't already, make sure you thank her over on Twitter. And it's here I'm going to begin quoting. "What do you mean the mission's changed?" Sasuke said. As they spoke, Naruto is still suffering from his disease that no one knows how to treat. According to the Kyuubi, it seems that the Sage of Six Paths had once suffered from the same thing. He had recovered from the illness while he was traveling through Ridaku. How the Sage of Six Paths cured himself, we have no idea. Kakashi was the first to infiltrate the capital of Ridaku to try and search for any type of a lead. It takes a long time to get from Konoha to Ridaku. We didn't receive any kind of contact from Kakashi. Naruto was worsening by the minute. Most of the relevant literature found was written in Ridaku's ancient language, which even with the professional academy teams that they assembled, they had a hard time decoding them. The only information that had been relayed was that back when the Sage of Six Paths had stayed and recovered here at the Astronomy Research Institute, if they were too slow and with the symptoms that Naruto was already showing, this may all be too late. Sasuke, who was already slumped in his own work, got to the Astronomy Research Institute without being told twice about the mission and what clues to look for. As soon as Sasuke had departed to this institute for the mission, Sakura had followed. "While you were heading over here, we got a hawk from Shikamaru. It was about the description of the book that Kakashi found in the capital. We got a lead on some info on the Sage of Six Paths." The folds of paper that Sakura held out were aligned with Shikamaru's sprawling handwriting. On the note it said, "The Sage of Six Paths, whose body was already sick with the unknown illness, had walked about the Ridaku region, ending up rubbing shoulders with an astronomer named Tataro. Even though we are sure that Tataro had no former medical training, he cured him, suffering from the strange disease no longer. There was a shooting star approaching Earth from the heavens. The sage himself caught the meteorite with just one hand, splitting it in half. The half of the meteorite that he held in his hand crumbled in his palm, turning into stardust that covered the Sage of Six Paths. We're almost sure that that's how the Sage of Six Paths cured his long-standing illness. As long as it descends from the heavens and you split the meteor with just chakra, it'll grant you great power." Tataro had named the power the polar particles. Though there had been conflicts between people over this power, most of the meteorites and polar particles that enter into the atmosphere go undetected, protected by the shine of the stars, and most people paying no attention to what's happening to above them. If the Sage of Six Paths had suffered recovered from the illness and searched Ridaku for the specific power, the story of the celestial cure must not be a fiction. He had a map of the stars and he had mapped it out like a treasure map for the specific meteorite that was needed, but it was somewhere locked deep within the institute that Sasuke was at. If there's someone suffering from the same disease as the Sage's Six Paths. Sasuke reread the note from Shikamaru 3 more times as he mumbled it to himself. The cure was the polar particles. According to the notes, the Sage's Six Paths divided the polar particles into 2, one of which had fallen to the earth, and the other one, a star, continued to travel around. Sasuke-kun, this is just a conjecture, a hypothesis between Shikamaru and I, but I think his illness is a kind of malfunction in his chakra system caused by the tailed beast sealed within his body, and if the substance contained in these meteorites, Tataro's polar particles, have the power to heal these symptoms, then we have to be sure to get it, right? Sasuke had said, and Sakura nodded and answered. So, a new mission to search for that map and get the polar particle. First, we have to find out where that map is. A book, a picture, something. End quote. So, on top of finding out what Naruto's illness is, we find out one of the possible cures, or the possible cure, in order to cure Naruto. Now, what I love about this and what works about this explanation is that it's simple, especially when you consider the fact that Hagoromo, the Sage of Six Paths, is a descendant from a freaking alien. So it makes sense that a meteorite that's essentially a chakra meteorite, if you will, is something that cures a chakra illness. The Sage of Six Paths was half a Sasuke, but he was also part human. Housing 9 different sources of Biju chakra in his body did have an effect on it over time. Naruto has had 16 years with the chakra of 9 different Biju in his body. This isn't like when the Kyuubi chakra was given to Naruto, where it was allowed to mix with Naruto's own chakra over a 13-year period. This is a collection of 9 different sources of chakra. Even a small dosage of Biju chakra is still an enormous quantity of chakra, and it's arguably too much for one body to contain. This has led to Naruto's chakra system malfunctioning, which has led to symptoms of the chakra illness growing visibly noticeable to anyone who's watching Naruto with a close eye. At the start of the novel, we see Sasuke so frustrated at not being able to save Naruto, and he has so much concern for Naruto that he left without consulting anyone to go straight to the prison because it was the first clue that they were given that could help Naruto out. The line about it possibly being too late to save Naruto really hit home, but you have to remember, those Uzumaki genes are likely what's keeping Naruto going. You gotta remember that their life force is really something else. Being able to survive Biju extraction for a very prolonged period of time, despite it being instant death for anyone else, Naruto is recognized as the strongest ninja alive, and yet he's fighting a foe who he can't take down without the help of others. It's so ironic when you think about it. The guy who once cracked a hollow moon in half with a single punch is being killed by the very same power that made him a legend. It's a race against time, with Sasuke having Sakura there to aid him, and Sasuke Uchiha only has so much room for error in his quest to save Naruto's life. But that's gonna be it for this edition of Sasuke Retsuden. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below, but as always guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.